Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he's ordered the IDF to come up with a dual plan to evacuate Gaza's southern town of Rafah as Israel prepares for a ground invasion of the city. This comes as White House officials say the U.S. won't support Israel sending its troops in if it doesn't consider the impact to civilians.
I'm of the view, as you know, that the conduct of the response in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip, has been over the top, and it's got to stop.
Foreign correspondent James Longman joins me now from Tel Aviv with more on this. James, Israel says the evacuation needs to happen before disbanding the Hamas battalions allegedly located there. Now, many of the Gazans in Rafah say they went there to get away from the fighting elsewhere in the region. So how realistic is it for the estimated 1.5 million people there to now leave?
Yeah, Dan, it remains really unclear. Palestinians, they say this is not evacuation, this is forced displacement. Where would they go? Where else in Gaza? Much of the rest of the Gaza Strip has been almost entirely obliterated. There are refugee camps, but they are not safe. Just today, Hamas says 15 people were killed in the Rafah area alone from airstrikes. So yes, Rafah has been this area of shelter for months now, but it hasn't been outside of the conflict. It's also been a dangerous place, but from the sky. Now, the danger, I think people in that city very much feel, could come from the ground, could come from some kind of ground incursion. And yes, Benjamin Netanyahu is talking about the chance to evacuate, but where exactly to? Inside Gaza or out of Gaza? And that is an incredibly touchy subject. There are people here in Israel who say that Palestinians, they could come up with a plan to get them to leave Gaza, to go to other Arab states. This is massively controversial in a conflict which is all about competing claims to land. And every time we talk to Palestinians, when we get the chance inside Gaza, of course, we can't go to where they are because Israel doesn't allow us, but when we're able to speak to them on the phone, and about their plans for the future, if there is one, they all say they are not going anywhere. Even if their homes are destroyed, they do not want to leave Gaza. They feel very strongly about that. So yes, Benjamin Netanyahu has spoken about this plan for an evacuation, but it remains unclear just exactly where all these people can go. 1.2 up to 1.5 million people. Rafah, the population of Rafah has grown 6 times during the course of just 4 months. Diane?
Wow. James, UNICEF also says thousands more could die if fighting escalates in Rafah. How dire is the situation there right now?
Well, the Norwegian Refugee Council has said that this is the largest displacement camp in the world. People don't have regular access to running water, to food, to sanitation. There are areas where the Israeli forces have been telling civilians to go to escape fighting all through for the last 4 months. They've given them zones where they say they're able to go. The method of communication has been difficult. A lot of the time they're asked to log on to a screen, and it's a QR code they're asked to scan, well, in a place where you can't really get much power. A lot of people's phones won't be working. There's very little internet connection. That's difficult enough as it is. But once they have made their way to these places, often there's no sanitation. We're told stories of hundreds of people using one toilet, that it's very difficult to get the right amount of food for children, that prices inside Gaza have skyrocketed just because there is so little getting in. And we know there are aid trucks. There's been big conversations around how many aid trucks can get in. Even on a day when 80, 100 aid trucks get into Gaza, that is just a drop in the ocean for the sheer amount of need that is there. Remember, it was already a place that relied very heavily on aid before this war began. Diane?
And James, an Israeli political source tells ABC News Netanyahu will likely send negotiators to Cairo in the next few days. So where do ceasefire deal and hostage negotiations currently stand?
Well, when Benjamin Netanyahu the other day rejected Hamas's counter proposal, he said that it was delusional. He said that there was no way that he could allow Hamas to remain in Gaza. It felt like a deal was dead. But Anthony Blinken, Secretary of State, was here, and he said, look, Netanyahu hasn't completely closed the door on a deal. There is still space for an agreement and a lot of pressure inside Israel on the government to try to get those hostages out. I think, though, there was a lot of disappointment here that perhaps they did feel that they were on the edge of something. But if we're not back at square one, we're very close to it. It is clearly a race against time for these hostages, up to 30 of whom we understand have already died in captivity. Diane?
All right, foreign correspondent James Longman in Tel Aviv, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.